Hello. Hey, how are you?
Just stand up.
Hey, man. Hey, how are you? Look, you have mercy.
Yeah. Georginio. Nice to meet you. Chris. Nice to meet you. You got shares and ten.
Hey.
How you doing? You well? Everything good? Yeah. Summer?
Yeah, always.
Hey, Jaouen. Hey, Fabian.
So now, my shot that day.
Everything's fine. I'm getting older.
Pick up on both. It'll be fine.
Good.
Right. Ferdi.
Where do I sit?
You sit in the middle, but I'm going to put the mics in the middle so they pick you both up.
Pascal here.
Should put that one so you.
I've got it. That's a big shoot that far. Yeah. Just don't give me inch.
Mr. Gilmore, want to kick us off?
Thanks very much. Hi Fabian, it was a pretty special start to the season. What does that do for setting the tone for the early days in a campaign?
Yeah, I think it's perfect. As Pascal is also here, you can answer. I think this question from players' perspective. From my perspective as a coach, I think it sets the standards. It sets the standards regarding intensity, regarding how we want to play in possession, out possession, how we want to end the game, how we want to play football, and what is necessary to win games in the Premier League. So therefore, I think from a coach perspective, of course, it was a positive start. Now it's very important to understand why this one happened, why we had to start, because we were brilliant in the basic things, and I think that was crucial. So therefore, it hopefully gives the players confidence, gives us confidence. We faced some adversity through the pre-season, but the boys, the players did really well, and it was a great start. But now we're looking ahead for next big challenge tomorrow against Tromsø, and therefore we have to do all the basic things again. We have to press like we press against Villa. We have to attack the box with a special desire. I think this will be crucial. So yeah, we're looking ahead for this game.
What's the team news for that game against Tromsø, and how do you as a coach balance that with another big league game against Chelsea at the weekend?
Yeah, I think first of all we should really focus on this game tomorrow. That's the main thing. I think it's a do or die game. We know we will face a tough opponent with Tromsø. We had it in the first game against them. Very disciplined team, very compact defend with a lot of players. So therefore we have to be ready for that. That's the only focus we have at the moment. Regarding team news, there are no new injury concerns. I think the other injuries they're all known in public. You know it. So therefore, hopefully we can perform on the highest level.
Kadıoğlu and Rutter okay as well?
Yeah, Rutter we have to see. He has a issue. It will be maybe not a big issue. It's not a big issue, but therefore we have to go really day by day and see how far he will be. With Kadıoğlu, he will be definitely in the squad. So let's see what will be with Rutter tomorrow, and also for the weekend. There we have to manage him, but there I can't say a clear schedule if he is fit for tomorrow or not.
I know you faced a lot of questions about transfers this month and this window in general. Carlos Baleba, obviously outgoing. What can you say about that, man?
I think it's part of our identity. It's part of the club's identity, developing young players. And I always say to the players, like, if we are successful as a team, the individual will shine. If we are successful as a team, like, there will be attention on this club. There will be attention on the individual players. So therefore, it's the biggest dream from Carlos to play for United. He always told me about having this dream, and he deserves it. He had 2 great years with me. He had another year before where he got used to the Premier League. He's a great personality, great player, and I wish him and his family all the best. It's a player like he has something special. He has his physicality. We can't replace him 1-to-1, but we can replace him as a team. We can replace him with a different profile as players. For example, now Yasin played as a 6 against Villa. He's a different profile. He interpreted the role differently than Carlos. So therefore, we are there. I am there to find solutions together with the players, and my players did it in a really good way on Sunday. So that's another thing that will give us confidence that we are able to replace players. We are able to replace them, maybe not 1-to-1, but as a team, and that's what made us always strong in the past.
You mentioned there about him having that dream to play for Manchester United. From a coach's perspective, do you then have to be quite accepting of not only that player dream, but the way the club approaches transfers, or do you make a big pitch to try and keep players?
Of course, I try to convince the players to stay. But in the end, like I said, it's part of this club. It's part of our identity that we will always develop young players. We always try to get young players in, and like I said, I think these things, selling players will only happen if the club is successful. And I think all these players who want to make a move, they need to understand, they need to work hard for this team here. They need to commit as long as they're here for this badge, and that's crucial for me. And I think then, of course, that's natural in this business that there come bigger clubs, there come like longer contracts, bigger contracts, more money, these kind of things, and that's something what we have to accept. But like I said, I wish the player all the best, and I'm also quite convinced that we have still a strong squad. We are still strong players. We will replace them in a different manner. But I'm not here. I will never complain about these things because there are certain things I can't control. Of course, I will fight for my players. Of course, I have a clear opinion which player should definitely stay and help us. But there are certain things I can't control as a manager, and therefore my focus on how good I can prepare my team regarding the next challenge, and that's the only thing what I can control. And therefore, my fully focus is on tomorrow together with my team, with my players. We can achieve something special, and that's my focus.
Do you have a similar situation developing with Yankuba Minteh and Liverpool?
Rumours. So therefore, let's see what happens. Again, another example, and I can only like repeat myself. Like another player who he benefits from the success of the team. He benefits, for example, from hard work from Pascal, hard work from Georginio, hard work from all the other players. He benefits, and he knows it. So therefore, I think it's always also important to understand as a player, what do you have here playing for a club like Brighton? You have a club that gives you the chance. You have a club and the teammates that are really trying to push you. You have a club that is there for you also in tough moments. Like Carlos Baleba had so many tough moments when he was here. Also Minteh had tough moments, but we're always there for them. We always try to help them. Teammates are there for them. So I think it's also important for the players to understand what they have here with this club, like how the fans are connected, how we are working together. And it's difficult to find a similar environment or a better environment for potential young players. But the same with Minteh. We were successful as a team. That brings attention on him. So let's see what happens. And if you ask me if I try to convince him to stay, yes, I try to convince him to stay. But can I control everything? No, I can't control everything.
Because this afternoon Liverpool have been linked with a couple of other players in that position, do you think that maybe you've done enough that has gone away, that you can keep him beyond Tuesday?
Let's see. Like I said, from my perspective, if Minteh, he's a Brighton player. He needs to commit to this club because one phrase he also said to me, like, he knows that these rumours only come because he benefits from everything here, from how he's been like worked with, from how he's been protected from everyone, how he's been developed. So I think that's also important for him. And then in the end, everyone knows how the football business is working. So let's see what the ideas from Liverpool. We have a clear idea how we want to go forward. But like I said, I think we have a lot of things regarding this player in our hands, but in the end, again, there's Tony, there's Paul. Together with them, we try to make the right decision.
And just a final one on that for me. Does it come a point in the summer, if you've already sold a couple of really key players from your side last season, that for you as a coach, that is enough, almost try and keep him for another window?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, we try to convince these key players to stay. Definitely, that's my first job. But when a player is leaving, we are there to find solutions. I'm never that guy who will be here in front of me and try to complain about anything. I'm a coach who tries to find solutions together with my team, together with my players, and we showed it in an impressive way on Sunday. They were capable of doing it. Now the thing is, can we do it long term? Do we have enough players to do these things long term in a consistent way? Because in the end, consistency is the main bit for us. Consistency in this season will be crucial for us if we have another successful season or not. And therefore, we need to take care of every player individually. Have we enough depth in our squad? Do we have enough players who can, for example, replace this or that player? And this will be crucial to understand how strong is our depth of the squad. And if you're convinced there, then I have a big belief in our squad, because I think we have a strong squad with good connections, with good individual quality, and with good characters. And that's for me the most important. The characters are really strong. They are hardworking, they are humble, they are grounded, they know what it needs to win in the Premier League. So players like Lewis, Jason, Pascal, also know Jack, Bart, they grow into it. They know what it needs to win in the Premier League. And I think, therefore, that's also crucial to have this balance right. And that's what I see.
Pascal, can I ask you a couple of questions? What did you and what did the team learn from that first leg against Tromsø that you can take into this second game?
Yeah, I think we started the game well at Tromsø. But we also saw in the second half that they're really dangerous on counter-attacks. We need to be careful. We need to attack, but we need to be good at rest defense as well. That will be key tomorrow. And we need to take our opportunities. We need to score. We're at home with our fans. It's a totally different game, totally different environment for them as well. And therefore, I'm really positive for the game tomorrow.
As someone who's played in European competitions, how special can this be, not just for you, but also for some of the younger players that might get an opportunity?
Yeah, really special. Like the gaffer said, tomorrow is a do-or-die game. Them games, there's no excuses. You have to do it. And we want to do it tomorrow because last year was very hard to finish 8th in the Premier League. It's a tough league, and we don't want to waste that. We in Europe. We want to qualify and give our fans another European tour, home and away. And therefore we need to do the job tomorrow.
And just one for you, Fabian, a new signing, Jaouen Hadjam. Tell us a bit about how he might fit into your squad.
Well pronounced. Not that easy to pronounce it right, so that was crucial. So, another left back. I think he proved it already in the past. Also in the World Cup, he's capable of playing on the highest level. He played in a different league with different demands, so now it's very important how fast he can adapt to the Premier League, to the intensity of our game, how we want to play football. But I heard a lot of positive things, and like I always mentioned, we not only do and see the player, we do a lot of background information about how is his character, and he seems to be a really hardworking guy, very humble, so great fit for us, and hopefully he can help us immediately.
Thank you.
I think we'll go to Darren next. Behind you.
Hi, Fabian. Charalampos Kostoulas, with Georginio perhaps having a small issue, does he come into your thinking, and how is he shaping up? You've seen him in glimpses so far.
Yeah, he's definitely always in my thinking, and he's a natural goal scorer, so he wants to score goals, and I think that's also crucial in these kind of games. He also understands now more and more how important it is to work against the ball, and that's why I will judge him when he's on the pitch. There I will always judge him how he reacts when we lose the ball, how is his body language, how hard does he work against the ball, and therefore I think he made a really positive progress, good development regarding this, and in possession. He will always have the quality to score a goal out of nowhere. I think he proved it also in his performances last season. No matter how long he played, he immediately had an impact on our game. So therefore, when or if Gini Rutter can't play, I think we have a good replacement with him.
And Pascal, you saw a lot of your experienced teammates leave over the summer. How hard was that for you to see some of those guys leave? And what sort of role do you take on now by helping sort of the younger players now settle?
Again, like the gaffer said, that's part of the identity of the club. On a personal level, of course, I miss a lot of boys. I shared a dressing room for a long time. On and off the pitch, we created a lot of memories. But in football, that's how it goes, how it is. Now it's important for me to help the new guys to fit in as fast as possible, because you see in the Premier League you don't have time or you get punished at the start of the season if you're not ready. And I'm also a guy who came from a different country to the Premier League, and people helped me a lot at the beginning. So I know what is needed, and I try to help the new signings to adapt as fast as possible to the country, to the league, and that they can perform on the highest level. Because I think if you feel comfortable, if you feel wanted, there's a bigger chance you can show your full potential.
Do you have a question?
Pascal, I think you've been on the pitch in every European game for Brighton in the club history. Is that correct, or how will you use that experience for such an important game as tomorrow?
Probably I was. I'm not 100% sure. But it's a game. Do or die games are different to league games, because you can't you not have another chance to do it again. So we just need to find the right balance between attack and defense. It's a game of 90 minutes or longer. Stay calm, but also we're at home and we strong, and we should really believe in ourselves. We saw on the weekend what we're capable of. We have our crowd, and we're also really confident that we go to the next round.
And then how you analyzed the game against Tromsø last week?
Yeah, like I said, very disciplined team, defending with a lot of players behind the ball, good in transition. Also, they try to build up with the goalkeeper. So overall, good team in possession, out possession. But in the end, we should also have like the belief and the confidence to say, if we play our game, if we bring our intensity, our physicality on the pitch, if we have like a good structure in possession, if we play simple, if we play fast, if we attack the box well, then I think we're also a team that is difficult to beat. And I had yesterday a fan event, and one of my message towards everyone was like, we want to build a fortress at home. We want to be a team that it's so difficult to play against, because how we play football, but because also we have the special connection towards the fans, the special atmosphere. So hopefully, like everyone who sees this press comes tomorrow to this game, creates a special atmosphere, creates a night we will never forget, and hopefully things can make things possible tomorrow for them, and also for our belief and for our confidence.
Pascal, how different was the mood in the dressing room after the Tromsø game and then after the Villa game?
The mood is always better if you win football games, because that's why we train every day here. But we also know Tromsø, it's a two-leg game. It's 180 minutes at least they're getting played. So it's a clean sheet away from home. We wanted more, but also you saw second half, if you're not careful, you also get punished and on a European level. So therefore it was good, Bart saved us, and we took the game back to Brighton. So the mood wasn't too bad, but we knew we have to play better, we need to step up. But it was our first official game this season, our first proper game, I would say, because friendlies, it's always hard to judge. But then the second game at home against Villa, I think was really impressive. The intensity we brought in, the way we defended, the way we attacked. we've been obviously delighted because in the first half, 4-0 up in the Premier League, really difficult. But yeah, that in the end, the mood was all right after Tromsø and after Villa, obviously good.
Fabian, have you been practicing penalties?
We always practice penalties. So it's honestly it's a constant thing we are doing because hopefully we qualify for Europe. Then we play in 4 competitions and maybe in 3 competitions you need penalties, and I think that's very important to understand. Like training penalties doesn't make sense if you only do it one day before. It's like training penalties, like you train free kicks, corners, all these kind of things. You have to do it in a consistent way. So therefore, we do it in a consistent way, and not only because of this game.
Thank you.
You just mentioned the fan event there. I was going to ask you about that. Was that your idea, or I think it's been suggested by some people? Can you tell me why and what happened?
Yeah, I think because we want to build a strong connection to the fans, and we know that especially in tight games and in a long season with a lot of games, we need our fans, we need our supporters. And last season, especially the second part of the season, they created some unbelievable atmosphere, some very energetic atmosphere. And like I mentioned it before, we want to build this fortress where we're just difficult to beat at home. And we shouldn't be known as not only known as a nice club, as a well-structured club, we should also be known as a club like that's just difficult to beat because how intense we play, because how loud the stadium is, how energetic the stadium is, how the fans are behind the team. And therefore, I think myself, the players, we have to firstly put a lot of effort into it and to build this connection. It's not only being here in a press conference and speaking towards fans, it's also like you need to get in touch with them. You need to spend time with them. You need to show effort regarding this. And therefore, there was another good step regarding building this connection. On top of that, for me, it's always important to understand what fans are expecting from us, from players, what they really want to see, what makes them proud to be a Seagull supporter, what makes them proud to go after they went to the stadium into a pub and speaking about Brighton and the team. And therefore, I think you can only understand these things if you get an exchange. And therefore, I think it's crucial to do these things. And it was a really good first step. And now we keep building on this connection. Let's see what happens.
Pascal, Fabian spoke about playing fast. Will it be a faster game than on that slightly spongy pitch?
To be fair, the pitch was good. And I don't like excuses that the pitch, something was wrong with the pitch. The pitch was really good. It's a different kind of pitch, obviously. That's obvious, but that had nothing to do with maybe some things happened in the game. But like I said, we play at home. We have our fans. I'm really confident. I believe in the team, and that all matters for me tomorrow. Like, get the job done, be positive and full of intensity and energy with the fans together. We want to qualify.
Yes. Was there anything by Tromsø's performance in Tromsø that surprised you?
No. So we analyzed them. We knew that exactly these things will happen. We knew that it's a very well-structured team. We know that they have a clear style of play in possession. So there's nothing that surprised me. In the end, they had like a few chances after transition. We had a couple of chances. Like when we attack the box, we have to be more ruthless. We have to be more clean in the final third. But to be honest, I think there was nothing that was unexpected. Like we knew it will be a tough opponent. We know that they're in the middle of the season. They're in their rhythm. They have a good physical condition. So that's what we have to prepare for. And that's also what we will face in the second leg.
One more question. European experience. Tromsø is actually a very, very experienced European team that played more than 60 games in Europe. Brighton has not. Does the experience count, Pascal, perhaps, in Europe?
I think so, yes. First time we played in Europe, we missed a little bit of experience. I think we could go even further. So I think it counts. But we have a lot of players that played on a European level. Not because the club didn't play so much there. The second time, it doesn't mean the players not played there yet. So that's the difference. We have players that are capable of playing on that level. They played in the World Cup. They played in different teams on a European level, so we're well prepared.
Fabian, considering the transfer business in and out over the past 24 hours, is Max Wieffer now a right back who can play central midfield, or is he a central midfielder who can play right back?
But
What are his thoughts? Have you spoken to him recently?
how you want to phrase it, that's up to you, Andy. That's up to you and your creativity. So I'm looking forward for this headline. Beside that, of course, we signed him as a central midfielder, and now we added a fullback. That doesn't mean that he automatically will go immediately in his sixth position, but they are constant thinking about, okay, what is best for the squad, what is in the end, what increased the percentage of winning games, and therefore we're trying to make a decision regarding this. But he wasn't in my office clocking and saying, I want to play centre mid, so this doesn't happen.
Pascal, Yasin Ayari, when you left the club, you hadn't played much with him at that time. He'd obviously been signed by then. But then, since you've been away, come back, how much of a difference have you noticed in the player that he's become since then? And what is he like to play alongside? He's obviously very different to Carlos, isn't he? But what qualities does he bring in the middle?
I think Yasin is a really good player. He has a lot of intensity. He's very good on the ball. He can pass the ball. He has a good shot. He wants to attack. He has a desire to win games. And he also defends, and he wants to learn a lot. I think he wants to improve every day. He comes here to get better. And I saw a lot of players here who left the club maybe to bigger clubs and improved. And I think he's on a really good way. He's improving every day, and I think he's a really important player for us this season.
Well done.
Thanks. Thank you.
Pascal, do you mind doing a bit, Johnny?